The United States Constitution says, first and foremost, that the purpose of the government is to promote the general welfare. What this means is that the government is to provide the services that its citizens need in order to prosper. However, the Constitution and the U.S. government were founded on the principle of freedom. So how are these differences reconciled? Is there a point at which the government can exceed its responsibilities? Have we reached that point?
There's a lot that doesn't work about our current healthcare system. I mean, on the one hand, for those people with access to our system, we've actually got a terrific healthcare system. You know, our cancer hospitals, our technology is the best there is. The problems we have with the system are not related to quality, but are related to access. We've got almost 50 million Americans in this country without insurance. That means that they don't have easy access to the system because, of course, healthcare is enormously expensive in this country. Our costs are going up because the uninsured seek care often in emergency rooms, which is the single most expensive place for the uninsured to be served.
I don't think anybody disagrees that in a country like this, people ought to have access to healthcare. You know, how you deliver it and how you pay for it, obviously, is what usually sharpens the debate, and the role of the government in providing that health care as opposed to private parties is what everybody recently has started to talk about.
How will the healthcare reform bill change our current system? And why do some people have a problem with this?
For its, I think, most intense criticism, and really there is an interesting issue here, of course, is on the question of the individual mandate. The requirement that people have a minimum level of health insurance or pay a tax penalty if they choose not to do that.
And that's the genesis. The individual mandate is a conservative idea. The genesis was in a conservative think tank. And when Mitt Romney signed the bill in 2006, on the podium with him was a spokesman from the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank, saying how wonderful the bill was because of that individual mandate. Because that's about personal responsibility. It's about ending the free riding where individuals jump into health insurance when they're sick and jump back out when they're healthy. This bill is really trying to thread that needle, to try to thread the needle of using individual responsibility but not putting such a burden on people it's unaffordable.
You know, you can be for health care, you can be for the delivery of health care over a broader range of society. You can certainly be in favor of the government playing a role in it, but when it comes time to have the government in this or any other aspect of your life tell you that you have to buy essentially a private product, then I think people are a little concerned about whether that's a broader role than government should be playing in this or any other issue.
You know, I do think the mandate, even though it does not say specifically, literally in the Constitution, that the governments of the United States, federal, state, municipal governments have a responsibility to provide health care. It is something that is necessary and proper, and it is certainly, I would think, an implied power to do that.
That's right, that you're being compelled to do something. Again, what most of the courts have said is that the central issue here is about the ability of the Congress essentially to act within the so-called Commerce Clause of the Constitution, which gives the Congress the right to legislate in the case of something that involves commerce among the several states. It's very clear that health care falls into that category.
How will the healthcare reform bill change our current system? And why do some people have a problem with this?
Well, dire warnings now from doctors across this country about the president's healthcare law. A survey of hundreds of physicians done by consulting giant Deloitte finds that only about a quarter of doctors believe the healthcare overhaul will cut costs. Half of the doctors surveyed say access to healthcare will decrease, and more than 2/3 of those surveyed say the best and the brightest who might consider a career in medicine will now think otherwise.
Together, you can increase supply. I mean, you can increase demand by giving more and more people insurance cards, but you have to think about supply, and we're already overloaded. Megan, that's why emergency rooms are going to fill up. That's why primary care visits are not to be had, because if you give more and more people Medicaid, or you insist that everyone has private insurance if the individual mandate holds, where are they going to go? The doctors aren't there.
I know that, you know, business classes are part of their training. And it makes sense. I mean, they are going to start a business, and that business is healthcare. And to a certain degree, those individual doctors are prisoners to a healthcare insurance system that defines the type and the quality of care that they will provide. This whole notion of managed care.
So how does the United States healthcare system compare to that of foreign countries? Could we learn from them?
You know, we are, in fact, I believe, the only Western industrialized nation that doesn't have some sort of a comprehensive plan for all of its citizens.
Every Israeli citizen has a healthcare card, and it's fairly nominal. I seem to recall that in the 80s when I lived there, it was like $10 a month. And that basically shows you what can happen if the individual mandate is in effect. In other words, if healthcare is mandatory.
The Supreme Court has announced that it will be ruling on the constitutionality of the healthcare reform bill in March. If this bill is ruled constitutional, the future of U.S. healthcare could take a turn for better or for worse. The bad prognosis is that the American healthcare system becomes terminally ill. The number of doctors will continue to dwindle while the number of patients explodes, and America becomes unable to pay the bills. However gloomy the prognosis may seem to some, there is still hope for a better future. If the individual mandate survives, attention could shift towards the private healthcare providers by regulating them more efficiently. The Supreme Court could decide either way, and if there are changes implemented, it would take years for them to take full effect. Making such large changes to a system fundamental to our society is a process. There is never going to be an easy answer that pleases everybody, but we will never progress if we remain idle.